Art Conundrum Podcast. We have our first official guest, Daniele Joseph. I didn't remember that your last name was Joseph.
Welcome.
Um, you were always just Daniel, you know. I
Yes.
was telling Mr. Watson, very fiery. I remember, I
On.
remember it was almost like you made it your point of duty to tackle every lecturer you came across. I remember that very clearly.
Oh
Oh
gosh.
my.
Yeah,
But
man. Yeah, man.
it
I
was
don't
it was
remember having
good
an
though.
encounter.
Yeah.
I don't remember having an encounter, but I know in critique, I would have seen her going off.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Daniel. I mean, what's happening? What's up?
If Edna.
Well, I mean, we will definitely get there, but let's begin with, how are you?
Well, I would say that I'm okay if I want to be on the pod. Life has been a bit challenging in terms of if we were looking at the artistic side of things.
Mhm.
Where I'm from the island known as Grenada. We're a tri-island state, which means that we're made up of three islands: Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Um,
Oh,
we're a small
Say the
island,
others, say the others again.
Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
Oh, it sounded like something else a while ago.
I almost thought you said Saint Martinique or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, and the art life here is not so blooming as in Jamaica. So
Boy, we might have to challenge that a bit. We might
Yeah,
have to challenge that
I
notion
would
a
need
bit.
a definition because I mean, different people might have different feeling about what you're saying.
Yeah,
yes,
we're definitely, the meat will be in the details.
yes.
The meat will be in
So,
the details.
I'm also I'm a teacher. Teach
Okay.
visual arts at a local secondary school here on the island, and it comes with its ups and downs. It's very challenging. Hearing me?
The
Yeah,
internet is
it's
in
a
and
bit
out.
choppy.
Not
Yeah, it's a
clearly.
bit
It could
choppy.
be. Yeah. Well, that is the nature of the internet service we have.
Yeah. That's no big deal. All right, we'll continue. We can always edit that out, and of course, we'll have some direct questions about, the art life in Grenada. So I guess you can always just go over what you said as you speak. All right, Christina, how has your week been? How are you?
Ah, yeah,
Okay.
it was
All
my
right.
week was okay, my week was productive. Me gonna say something, me now, but but my week was good. My week was good.
Why you not about to say it?
It's my business.
Okay.
Yeah, you bring it up there. Now you get everybody.
Yeah, my week was good. My week was good. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Watson.
Well, I suppose I had a good week as well. Is the some of the usual thing, but I think I'm making some breakthrough. My thing now is with the youth them are working with, and there's one class I've been working with since I got there, and I think this week was the only week that I really got them to sit down and really do some work without big fight. And the only fight we have then was to clean up afterward. But other than that, and I've been going to work and back home, and everything's been good. Sleep has not been so good in for some other reasons, but I am great.
Mm. You know what? I want to ask you. What are the parallels with teaching those students and the students from the multi-care program? You find that it's a similar kind of thing, or it's different?
The age group are similar, but I think these children really lack discipline. These ones, I mean, those have their issues as well, but these ones is as if they are trained to just not do
Trained.
anything. Yeah, because you can't discipline them, and you have to be so careful about what you're saying to them, and yeah, they just don't want to work. I mean, it's summer, and some of them figure it's fun, but for me, fun is what you're doing, and fun is not always going out on the playing field to play soccer or basketball or whatever the case may be. But it's their discipline. They have absolutely no discipline and do not know how to be disciplined. And I'm sound like I'm placating everybody, but there are some that are different. So those who come from a Jamaican household.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can identify them.
Yes, because you can say I'm going to call your mother, and it makes a difference.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
just going to be all over the place. One boy tell me he's not interested in working because he's going to be a robber.
Hey.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, he needs help. But that's just him. You can't get him to do anything. And this week was the first time I got him to make a mark. And I have to be honest still, every minute, every move that he makes, I am behind him. Sit down, do that. And I show him the kind of mark to make, blah, blah, blah. But other than that, he does nothing. But to
Mm.
say at 10 years old that I'm going to be a rabbi, I'm not interested in working.
Didn't you see the video of
Yeah,
the
I was just
little
about to
youth
say.
out
Yeah,
here?
seen that one, yes. But that one that was on Facebook and all over the place. He was saying that to me. And the thing is, yesterday it came up again, and another student heard. I didn't know that somebody else heard when you were saying it. Another student heard and said it.
Mm.
So it is now established. Everybody know that that's what he's thinking. But as I'm talking, I'm saying maybe I should probably assist in getting him some help in thinking differently. It would be a big job, but
Yeah.
I wonder
Okay.
why he wants to robber.
Um, I have some ideas as to why,
Yeah.
uh, but we can
Yeah.
talk about it. We can talk about it. All right. So my week, nothing special.
Please
um,
don't come cussing again.
no,
Tony,
I'm not going to
Daniel,
curse.
last week Tony was like off.
Because
Tony
why
cussing.
why
We don't
So,
know who touch him nerve.
sometimes, no man.
not
Sometimes you have to just let it out. You can't keep the
uh
frustration bottled up.
it's
Just being in the arts, a lot of frustration.
your boss somewhere else.
Come again, Daniel.
Mm.
There's
I
a
said,
delay.
hmm.
Okay,
Oh
okay,
God.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I think there's a delay, so we have to keep that in mind. Yeah, but for the most part, um, yeah, it's very hard. It's really hard being a full-time artist. Like, you get up and the work is there, and you want to do it, but then there's so many other things that you have to take into consideration, because I think, and this is why I think it's important to have a studio space, because when you have to use the
Get
living
up.
room,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
and
very
go
busy.
somewhere.
I can
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I can tell
feels.
you that's so true.
Yeah, man. It's needed. It's needed. I don't think you can really, because you inconvenience people in the house, and people
Uh-huh.
in the house inconvenience you. So it's
Ah,
That
yeah.
you don't have
that is
you
I
don't
am,
have your own studio?
No, we don't. I don't have a studio.
Neither do I.
and
No.
that's why I'm a stickler for people getting studios, because people become so accustomed to being in the living room, and therefore not doesn't give themselves a chance to explore, because there
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
interventions.
Yeah. And I think just the feeling of I think if you
Yeah.
had a studio that you can go to, it would have more feel like there you did something worthwhile, or it would feel more like work, I guess, is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. Um, but that comes with the life. It comes with the territory. That's the nature of the career. And I'll definitely stick with it. Not saying I'm giving up, but just to highlight some of the hardships. Just to
That
highlight
is
the
proud.
hardships. Um. All right. So that's it for what we've been doing for the week. Of course, we have our special guest. I think most of the episode will be about Daniel.
Oh
All right.
Lord.
Yes. Yes, Daniel. I hope you came prepared to tell us everything. Um, the first thing I would like to know, Daniel,
Mhm.
is what was it like for you coming to Jamaica to pursue your degree, your
Yes,
teaching degree in the arts?
Ooh, that's a good question. What was it like? Um, I must say that I didn't have any like crazy expectations. I was kind of like at my adventurous stage of just like going about something and see what happens. I was open-minded before before coming to Jamaica. You had all these stories. Uh, bad man and thing over there. Every day seemed to be thought. You had to be extra careful. I mean,
Oh
even I mean, I came along not just by myself. I had other colleagues as well, and
no.
we were given a briefing by our government, and so in terms of being extra careful or vigilant when over in Jamaica, etc. And um, then I actually came to the place and saw for myself. I mean, there were some things that were a little bit shocking. I don't know how how honest and so you want me to be.
No,
No,
be
be
There
very
were
very
some things
honest.
honest.
that,
Be a
Be
very
very
honest.
honest one.
all right, well, you asked for it, so you'll get it.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I remember seeing human feces in the road, um,
In
walking.
downtown.
No, I didn't go downtown yet. It was more like crossroad situation.
Oh.
Okay.
After you get used to traveling the route, you realize, hey, you could walk that, save some money, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
seeing feces and the place smelling like urine and all those things, which was something I wasn't accustomed to. But then gradually it kind of like grew on you. Um, I wasn't very,
What a thing
I
to
didn't
grow
make it
on you.
just get used to it because I mean, it's not like it was something that was going to change in a day or a month or what the case
Yeah.
was, you know. And rather than coming and complain and thing, because I had a colleague, she was complaining all the time about things, she just couldn't because it wasn't a norm, right? It wasn't a norm for any one of us, but I kind of came with the willingness to like just embrace whatever and go through. There were times whereby there were certain sayings and things that you guys would say as Jamaicans that I was kind of like, okay. Like for example, when you would say hush, right? Or shush,
Mm-hmm.
that for me it was something disrespectful when somebody talking and you tell them right? But for you guys it was okay,
Mm-hmm.
be quiet sometimes. But more is like it was just a form of expression. So these things and then I kind of had to it had to grow on me and I had to understand those things. So
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
I had that openness to just embrace. Don't get me wrong, there were times when I got homesick. Boy, for example, when I needed curry. Whew.
So you didn't get
I
curry in Jamaica?
Not like how they know it, man.
Huh? No, not like how we accustomed it. I mean, I remember one time I had a serious craving for curry, right? It's not like I couldn't make it on my own, but sometimes you just want to, you always want to go and
Quick
buy
and
it and just
fast,
eat it
yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
I remember an ex-colleague of mine, because they were attending well, the same Edna, and one day, you know, he was more adventurous than myself, and walked downtown, and I was in such a hurry. And then we eventually find a restaurant, but the curry was okay, but it wasn't all that, but it was okay. And but it kind of helped with the crave, you know. But then eventually you just get used to things, you
Yeah.
know. And then all of a sudden, you don't. So it was a vibes, I would say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Jamaicans always boast about them curry, so to hear it from Daniel that the curry is
No,
not all
no.
that, we need to look at that. But
Or
so,
try
I
more
mean,
sources.
come again, Mr. Austin?
Or try more sources. There are
Oh,
so many people doing different kinds of curry in Jamaica.
Oh, yeah, man, you can get good curry in Jamaica, man. I can vouch for that. But all right, so Daniel, you were
and I
saying
don't think. uh,
no. Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying on top of that too, I'm
Yes, she was
Oh,
vegetarian.
vegetarian.
Yes,
Oh, okay,
yes.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
we use the
Like
curry chicken.
finding out.
Okay, okay. And you know that
Yeah.
it's very expensive to be a vegetarian. Um, especially in Jamaica because we don't really most of the stuff imported, most of the good vegetarian stuff, right, Christina?
No.
I mean,
I mean,
I
it's
am a
not
vegetarian,
it's
so we don't
not
know why we
all.
are asked.
No, there's a vegan in the house, but it's buying fresh is it because the shelf life is not so long as the other stuff where you can freeze and all of that, and
Mhm.
you find yourself have to re-up and buy, and buying different vegetables can get a little bit expensive, when you buy the pak chow or you steam the pak
Mhm.
chow, I realize that it's shriveled out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
And it have to
yeah,
cook fast because it's
yeah.
for
I
yeah,
think Daniel freeze.
yeah, I think she's frozen. Um okay, it looks like Daniel is back. Right, Daniel. Mr. Watson, you're missing online this week, man. What happened? You start out last week like you did go take it on and then you just hey Daniel, you're back.
Guys,
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
hearing me now?
Yeah,
You
it's
guys
a
hear
bit
Yeah,
me?
choppy. Yeah, it's a bit choppy, but I'm hearing you.
Okay, I warned you about that internet flow.
it's flow you
It's
have.
slow. Ah, you
Yeah,
see it?
it's
What?
flow.
You
That's
guys don't
so
have
funny.
you guys
I
have
tell all
DSL?
yeah.
All right, Daniel. I think it
It's
might be the
flow.
video. Cut, cut off the video, Daniel, and let's see if that works. Even though I would really love to have you on so the people can see you, but
Yeah. Flow. What Bounty Killer did say? Um,
Yeah, we have to just but all of them in one basket, yeah. So you want me to switch the audio?
yeah, just use the audio alone and let's see if that works.
You guys
Just
hear?
yeah, we're hearing you, Daniel.
yeah.
We've seen you too. Clear.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're seeing
good.
it too.
Okay, let me see how long that lasts.
200 freeze now. Lord have mercy. What a day. What a day
Oh,
to
I
have.
know.
If I forgot put some disclaimer about technical difficulties.
Oh God, no. Let me see how we can make this go.
We can't have him jump out though because he's the one recording. So
Yes.
if he falls off and the recording isn't stopped, we lose this recording. So hopefully he comes back.
Message him quick.
I'm sure him there frantically like, no, no, no.
So Khristina, how is art life? You're in it full time or how'd that go?
Yeah, I mean, I do other stuff because I remember I was doing photography as well.
Yeah.
Christina, let me cut you. You do other
Yeah,
stuff. You do photography. Is that art?
yeah, it's still art,
Or
but
is it still into
I
art?
mean, it was never like and so all of that we just lose. Hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me focus on something. Cause it looked like him saying. Let me see if in the chat it's saved. Chat. Oh, the recording saved. Woo. Okay. So
All right.
yeah, I'm as Mr. was saying, I'm full time in art, but I am diverse in different um aspects of the art.
Art.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And sometimes I find myself in a little bit of program or project management.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah. Um,
Right.
yeah, but it's rough. Sometimes I feel like you have
I
10
can
jobs.
imagine.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes
It's
uh,
good to be it's good to be busy sometimes though.
huh?
I say it's good to be busy sometimes.
Yeah, but sometimes it take a toll, because you feel like, oh God, how long can you sustain having all these different avenues? And
Yeah.
sometimes you feel like if you just focus on one, you can master one, and you don't have to be all over the place.
Okay, I get
Um,
you. I get you.
but I yeah, it's just what comes with being in the creative field, I guess.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
What about
Yeah.
you? Do any art, Daniel?
Sorry?
I don't know if you guys can hear me.
I can hear you too on it, and I started another recording because it did jump out.
Mr. Watson, you asked a question?
If you are into art as well outside of teaching,
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. I'm trying to get my artistic going somewhere other than classroom space. So I'm trying to develop works, keep a practice going.
great.
It's not always it's not always easy. It's challenging to do so because sometimes when you spend the day at the classroom and you come back to your place of residence, um, you sometimes don't even have the energy to deal with your own work. So I am still
Mhm.
trying to practice. Yes,
Yeah,
That's good.
yes. Trust me, it's very important.
All right, sorry about that, guys. I just came back in. I don't know. It looks like my internet is dropping.
so you have
Yes.
flow too?
Yeah, man, straight flow, straight
They
flow.
changed their name.
You
They
see, the
don't
thing
say
is, in a very early episode, Christina said something very derogatory about flow, and I'm
Me?
surmised that they must sabotage it.
Me?
Yeah,
I said something.
you chastise people in service. All right, sorry about that. What was the question? Was there a question was asked and
Well, we were just talking, just catching up on um the practice and stuff
yeah.
like.
okay,
Because I
okay.
asked her if she's like a full-time artist just like you. And then she was explaining that yes, she is.
Well. Sometimes one will think that I'm not practicing.
No such thing, no such thing.
There is a running discussion about me jumping back into a gallery's like
Setup.
exhibiting.
Mhm.
Um there's a running discussion, Daniel, but yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
And being a full-time artist, well, it's a new thing for me. I mean, I don't even know what that means really. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what that means really. I mean, does it mean I do nothing else but just dedicate myself to the work? I don't know. Um, so
Okay.
Daniel, earlier, as you were, telling us what it was like for you coming here to Jamaica, what was the impetus
Mm-hmm.
for choosing Edna and not somewhere else? Choosing Edna Manley College and not somewhere else.
I like your questions on them, eh? Well, originally I was looking into Trinidad, because Trinidad had, let me say, the idea of an art program.
Mhm,
So I created a portfolio and all these things, and I sent it off to Trinidad. But gradually, I got information about, the program is not as developed as I thought it probably should have been.
mhm.
And then came the situation in Jamaica, with that guy. You guys gotta help me with his name. Is it Christopher Cole?
Dodo's
No.
Coke.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yes. And
Dodos.
right, that big shootout and thing that happened,
Mhm.
and I had family members who said, "Well, listen,
Oh,
even if you had
this is why they briefed you. Because I was like, why?
right,
No,
so
it makes sense because the year you would have, yeah, it was
It
one
was
year
2011,
before. Yeah,
one
it
year after,
makes
I think.
sense now. It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I had family members who were saying, well, even if you're thinking about going, Edna, because what had happened before, after when I found out that Trinidad wasn't going to be a possibility, I started looking at doing research, and then
Mhm.
I bounced up Edna Manley, and I said, wow, it's interesting, for another art institution to be in the Caribbean. That must be something to explore. And I started reading persons' reviews and all these things, going on the Edna Manley website, all these different things. And then I shared it with a couple of family members, and they were like, you want to rethink?
Oh, yeah.
At least if anything, not now, because you know what's going on there right now. And so at that time, the opportunity didn't present itself. But then a couple of years after, another opportunity did present itself, and I said, "Listen, I doing this, and that's how I end up taking the trip to Edna. I mean, for me, there's something significant about attending an institution in your own region rather
Yeah.
than the idea is everybody go abroad in
Mm-hmm.
the sense of the US and places there,
Yeah.
because the belief that um it's
Higher quality
more.
education.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had this thing before that I wanted a Caribbean um education,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right, right, right.
So as I said, I came with this open mind.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah.
So, I mean, you said your expectations weren't very high. Um, were you disappointed?
Expectations weren't high. I
I
said
think
I didn't
I think they were high
have
for the.
any. I think I said I didn't come with any expectations.
Okay,
Like,
okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry
yeah,
about.
because I wanted to be open in terms of what I receive.
Hmm.
Like dealing with it within the moment to say, rather than prejudging how it will be, and then maybe being disappointed or maybe.
Hmm.
So I wanted to just come experience within the moment and deal with it as it arrives. Yeah.
Okay.
How did that work out for you?
I would say it worked out. I mean, when I sit down and I think about the overall experience, I would say it worked out really great for me because I see Edna Manley as a gem. And as we say, I could be as frank as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I see Edna Manley as a gem, but I don't think Edna Manley see itself as a gem.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, because I know I'm amming a lot. My apologies.
No, man.
I
No
think I lost
problem.
one of my past lecturers.
I know who you're talking. As you said that, I know exactly who you're talking.
Yes, 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 yes. I say that because, having spoken to a lot of the local Jamaican students attending the institution, and then also getting like a historical background from a lot of the lecturers. They give me the how it used to be in the past before Edna became how it became. When you notice that this is the only art institution in the English speaking Caribbean, I thought that there was a need for more respect,
Right.
not just
Yeah.
for international students, right, but for local students as well. That to me that was missing.
Yeah.
Unless I guess maybe your family was one of the known, right? Like them have money, so you get that respect. But I think that is definitely missing. It's
Yeah.
missing, lacking.
It's good to hear somebody who hasn't lived in Jamaica and be able to experience it new and fresh, and have that lens, because we knew there was an issue of respect, but the way you put it really give us a perspective to really think about in terms of lecturers, and just Edna appreciating that they are a gem too. I think that's important, and we haven't really discussed that perspective, that Edna really is, in terms of geolocation, in terms of um, the history, in terms of a lot of things. It is placed in a very, it's a very, very unique thing to the Caribbean.
Yep.
Agree.
Um, and until they realize that, and the respect is there. So when I went to Woolmer's, right, they had this thing that when you walk in, right, they give you this speech that, I mean, so you're supposed to know it too. They say, "Welcome, ladies. You're no longer commoners." And Casey does a thing to where you come in
Like
and
them say it literally like that.
they say it just like that. You are no
Now I
longer
see where the
commoners.
attitude comes from. That's now
But
I see
but
where the
but
attitude comes
there's
from.
this level of respect, and I want to say, this cult thing that happens where you start to understand the place you're in, and
Mm.
and the respect you need to have for that place. KC does it too, and I find that all the schools that have that kind of cult ingrained, I don't want to say cult, but it comes off that way.
It's kind of
Yeah.
cultish.
Yeah, it cultish, but once you get the participants to feel that level of um um respect, or you know high esteem, there
Mm.
it comes through in how they manage themselves within the space. And I think perhaps, um in the way that they take in first year students, maybe it should be in a way that really does the same thing, so that way once somebody gets a third or fourth year, it's not that, oh, with the Edna, and Edna is. You understand what I say? It's more
Mm.
like how you take could say nights. You understand what I'm saying? So that
Yeah.
we there is a level of respect still there for the space and how you manage the space.
Most of the schools, for instance, Christina, those those unisex schools to begin with, but a lot of the school system was built out of the colonial era.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, when you come into Woolmers, it would have been saying, we are one of those, we belong to a group of people
Yeah.
who, are within a certain class, because class was really something that they founded on.
Mm.
And so the same way the School of Art might, at the beginning, orientation, for instance, might try to sell the quality of the school. You might find differently, as you go along. But they might put some effort into selling the school and the expectation much, much better. But I wouldn't go so far as to say it's such a horrible place. I think personally, me, I attended the school,
Before it
and it
was even Edna Manley, right? It was the
was
School of Art.
full
Yeah,
of art.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And I think again it is that gem within the Caribbean, given the Caribbean, and I was given what the Caribbean is, but I was also inserting the word brave a while ago when you were describing some of the things that they do, and at the time, because you have to be culturally aware
Mm-hmm.
from where you are to say, okay, we are going to establish an art school. That's not something you do in a poor backward country.
Developing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we said developing, but and is a word we probably will be using forever. But yes, developing.
Yeah.
Country. But we need to establish the school as we go along. There are things that need to be improved. As Tuan is alluding to. Um, and
Yeah.
I would think, having had some experience by way of research, that kind of thing, I don't know that the Edna Manley is any worse off than a lot of the schools anywhere else in the world. They might be programming.
Yeah.
There might be personnel issue and other thing, but I think it can rank as good as a lot of the school anywhere.
Just trying to think hard about the what Mr. Watson was saying. In terms of comparison with or placement of Edna as an art school with other schools in the Americas. Let's say the Americas then. It doesn't have to be, but we're the only English speaking in the Caribbean. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's an emerging school in, is it Aruba? There's a Dutch school. I don't
Hmm.
remember the name. There's a Dutch school emerging that I think maybe once they get the things off the ground, maybe people in Jamaica may start thinking about attending their space too.
But they
Mm-hmm.
Um,
they come to Edna looking at Edna Manley structure before well, while they were thinking about it.
I remember. I remember.
But you
But I
see,
think go ahead, Daniel.
I think my concern is that I think it goes back to when I was saying about the history of or the historical rise of Edna Manley, the School of Visual Arts. And before we know it was called the Jamaican School of Art, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as I said, when I heard some of the lecturers shared their experience with me, it made me feel that, hey, that was the art school I wanted to belong to,
Yeah.
because you hear the passion in
Yeah.
Hmm.
in the in the voices, and even reading some of the books themselves, right? Because it was the start or the birth of something new and exciting, especially for Black people here in the Caribbean, right? Coming
Mhm.
together under that revolutionary spirit to want to become better. And
Mhm.
being my experience and not necessarily seeing what I've read, I think that the school is still riding on its former glories rather than wanting to continue it. And we have to understand that yes, you develop a name, and that name has it comes with certain significance, right? Historically, right? Culturally. So we keep riding on that name. Everywhere you go, you Edna Manley, wow, when you read the history books, wow. But then when you are experiencing it, then it makes you question what you've read, what you've heard about. And we got to be careful with that too, because my experience is just as genuine as somebody else. For example, I know of somebody who came from, an English country that we love to celebrate so much. And they were a bit, um, their experience was not the best based on what they have heard. And I'm not saying that, okay, everywhere doesn't have its levels of difficulties, but based on what Edna Manley was built from, we know that there were difficulties there before, right? And we know that there will always be challenges. But if we want a generation to still respect and hold the name to high esteem, we had to consider things that we are doing and saying when we are in the presence of greatness, I would say, because any one of those students could be a next form of greatness.
Right.
And when we are disrespectful to them, that's an experience they take away, right? And as I said, after reflecting a lot on my experience, my conclusion is still yes, Edna Manley is still a gem. But I want to see that gem still continue to shine despite whatever challenges.
Yeah.
you know from my experience, again, I mean, I saw that yes, a lot of the students that came in, some of them were a bit immature. And then, maybe as a lecturer dealing with that, you're expecting sometimes maybe a little bit more maturity with some of the students that come. But when they come and this is what you have to deal with, then it's kind of like you have to be dealing with a little pick me all the time.
Yeah.
And you go into that role that maybe you as a lecturer don't want to go into. Yes. But how do you address something like that, knowing that these students are coming to a different level of education? How do you deal with something like that? I mean, I remember being in a class and have a lecturer um, completely disrespecting the moment by engaging their cell phone in the class. And if a student did that, then that would be a problem. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So
Man, you're bringing up some because I didn't even remember some of these things. Yeah.
To me, it has progressively gotten worse because I've also heard stories about the past, and that's all I've been hearing. I didn't
mhm,
get to experience any of it. I heard about all of these amazing exchange programs, all of these connections that Edna have, the
mhm.
quality of the education, the quality of just everything. I did not experience most of that. The best education I got from Edna was in I think my last 2 years, and
Okay.
I can um attribute that to just a few individuals who made that experience worthwhile. Just to just to be clear, when I said that the school progressively has gotten worse, um, when you hear stories about the past, right? It seems as if there were uh, opportunities were abundant back
Mm,
then. Um, I mean, if
Mr.
you just
Watson disagrees.
well, Mr. Watson disagrees, but there are more than what there is now. There are more, right? And that's simply what I'm saying. You had opportunities to go study right out of school. You could. There are many scholarships that were available back then, and I wouldn't say abundant. Maybe abundant is a bit too much, but there were more opportunities.
Yeah.
Well,
And I don't see where the school is trying to build and maintain. Well, they lose some of these connections they had. I heard about what was that school in London? What was the art school, the very famous art school in London, Goldsmiths.
Hussein.
I heard that Edna had a connection to Goldsmith, and what came of that? One person, I think one person went there to study. One. And I think it was Esther Chin, if memory serves me correct, right? And are you aware of that? Wasn't it
I'm not
Esther?
aware.
Well, all right, we will have to fact check that. But I think one student went to Goldsmith. The Massachusetts. I did this in the past episode as well. I have issues pronouncing this. Massachusetts. We had a connection to that school as well. What happened to that connection? I don't know. I think
That's the one. That's the one. The link when we were there. That's the.
we heard of it when we were there, and we thought that something would come of it. Can I remember Ava? I think Ava was trying to establish some kind of connection to go abroad and continue her studies, and
But
nothing came of it.
Right.
Massachusetts, remember African went there, remember Camille went there, who else? Andrine Lord went there, who else? Was an exchange program also with
Right,
Institute College of Art,
right.
and those used to come to Jamaica and go there, but then that went. I don't know what happened to that
So
either.
so right. So we see it manifesting how the relationship with other institutions and other geological spaces break down, and that to me is a direct reflection of how the school has deteriorated over time.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion.
It could also be as well like relationships with the other countries in like what policies were there at the time for Jamaica and how they made those linkages with the Americas. It may have some influence with that as well. With how we make connections with other schools or schools having mandates to interact or engage with the Caribbean or in a way that is
I get what you're saying, but I don't see how,
yes.
how it would be a problem. I mean, Jamaica is a satellite state for America. I mean, I don't see why. I don't. It would only benefit America to strengthen ties. I don't see how that would lead to a breakdown.
But
What kind of
understand,
policies? What kind
Because
of policies cause that?
um I haven't done any research, but I was just thinking that it could have some implication
Good.
with how
Okay.
funding is
Right. Right.
allocated
Right. Right.
to a
Right. Right.
school to a cultural exchange,
Right. Right. Right.
or
Right. Okay.
or if they choose to re-diversify the fund to another part of them school, or they
Like the
decide
pond, the fish pond, and that
or they
rich.
want to or they want to put it into another country.
Mhm.
So it maybe that may influence how, or even if there's a different director who may be not Jamaican born anymore, or Jamaican heritage or whatever. So maybe Mr. Watson can talk to that. Maybe there's something of a connection there to why maybe some of these schools may have reshifted.
Mm.
um Maybe it could also be that Edna never keeps certain linkages. I don't know, but I think that has to also be a part of the discussion, in how we assess why is it that all these exchange programs were there, and then all of a sudden them just poof disappear in thin air.
But I have a question though.
Yeah.
Have in as being visual or fine art artists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have these opportunities been presented to y'all, or was it a case you had to go out and dig up things to find out, okay, that is an opportunity that I could take? Whatever presented to y'all?
No,
No,
no, it
when
wasn't
when
presented.
when we heard about the Massachusetts thing, in it was the same time we had some workshop with Lovell.
Mm.
Okay.
And it wasn't like presented, like we didn't get a pamphlet that, hey, this, did we? I'm trying to
No,
remember.
I don't
Did
think
we?
so. I don't
I
But
think
think it
so.
y'all
was more like,
brought some meeting or something to say, okay, look, as fine arts students, we have these different opportunities available. These are the different the time frame you have to apply, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera, et cetera.
I don't think so. I think what that program was, we heard about it through grapevines that there's
Yeah.
a college here, and I think it was the onus was on the lecturers to make selections or recommendations of students to matriculate into some exchange program.
Okay.
And I think why Ava may have been more trying to do it, because I think Raw had suggested, or Lovell had said to her that we we I think it was, I'm maybe wrong, but it could be that they said to her that we probably are considering you for something like that. I'm trying to remember, but I don't remember
I think.
them giving us a pamphlet to say, here, this is a college that
Mhm.
has a current program with us, blah blah blah. I don't remember it being like that.
Okay.
Um, the where Massachusetts is concerned, remember we have Brian McFarlane there as well, who was a professor there. Might have had some involvement in terms of getting
Mr. What's your phone ringing?
my phone ringing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
we
So
hear it.
it was a thing that was established that anybody could go. Also, prior to that, we want to understand that
We can
even
hear the vibrating. We can hear the
Yes,
wait,
very
little,
well.
wait, little.
somebody is very persistent, and I don't know why, but I'm trying to decline the call.
No, don't decline it. Just they're going to keep calling back.
No, it's
All right.
from Jamaica, right? So
It's from
there's some
Jamaica.
politics. There's some politics that has always been involved. Who's
Yeah.
going to give the money at this point for whatever reason, and then they're going to take it back for another reason? The school.
It's a text now. Oh, yeah.
All right. So yeah. So talk about the policies that was involved and who will give money at certain time for whatever reason. And we have to remember too. Within we talk about there was a period in Jamaica where we find that even the agricultural department was giving in America was giving money benefits.
I tell you.
You're still there? What are you saying?
No, she was saying, it was an expression. I think she was saying, I tell you.
Right. So
Oh,
and then for whatever reason they decide, okay, it's not important anymore. We're going to move somewhere else. So those funding stop. The school did
See?
continue some of the linkages. For instance, the program, some of the programs, it was dependent on who could afford, because even though there was might be some funding coming, you're still required to provide your own funding for other things, and some many people couldn't afford that, and the school didn't continue some of the linkages. I don't know what happened with the one with Maryland Institute College of Art, for instance.
It was Maryland. It was Massachusetts. It was Maryland.
Come on, both of them.
It
Both
was
of them.
both of them? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
man.
I saw it, and I didn't do a lot of research, but when I found out that there was that kind of linkage and then it went, and I started to find out who was responsible. And I don't know what Sweetie Wheeler had to do with it, but she attended the school as well, even while she was at art school. And I went there only because I had to find my own money. They didn't give me. I didn't get any grant. Well, I got some funding, but it was not through the linkage with the school. It was because I had the ambition to do whatever, and I started to do my thing. But I also tried to find out what happened and how we could restart it. Never did enough research, to get to where it actually did start. But I'm just trying to say that so many people are responsible for the things not going where they should be going or not continuing, that kind of thing.
I think there was a period in Edna's history where the leadership really failed the school. And I don't know which generation it was because I can't speak to that. But I think something went wrong along the way. And this is the thing. I've heard the conversation that these things are there, you know. Somebody, I, I can't recall who it was exactly, but someone said to me that no man, it's there, man. Yeah, whatever. So and my response was, if it's there, then why is it that we don't know? It's almost like the scholarship thing that we spoke about, Christina. Scholarships are in the school and students are not aware of it. It is
Well,
it, it, it
well,
also,
well, no, like after we left, like
right after we right right
Sasha
right.
K's year really went and found those scholarships because a lot of
Well,
them got
well,
scholarships
over
in
here,
Carreras, and
Yes,
yeah.
it
I
was
think it was one there. They should tell us, but I think it was also my fault. I think I was so deep into the studio that there were times that we not even make the only reason we make it over admin building is just because them call we over there. So I think
I know it
I
can't be your
also
fault.
no, but
Because that is what you're supposed to do. You're
yeah,
supposed to
I mean,
dedicate to the
to
studies.
to
They
some
are the ones
extent
who
I
supposed
blame
to make.
myself. Well,
Mhm.
I think now that I am a little bit more um I'm not gonna say older, a little bit more mature. If I was going back into the school, I think there are just aspects of your
Yeah.
learning that you just take in your range, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
one of
yeah,
them
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
was just I think because all right, so I went into Edna I would say pretty young. I never did sixth form. I went straight into Edna, and I think coming from that level, I didn't I didn't really realize that you could get scholarships. Like scholarships could be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so I think if I had that laser focus to say, this year I'm gonna look for a scholarship, that year I'm gonna look for a scholarship, rather than just focused on trying to get the work done, would have benefited me. So to anybody watching that is still a student there, just make that your prerogative to just try and look for a scholarship. Then I had a question I know Mr. Watts hand up, but I had a question for Danielle if her government encouraged her to come to Edna, and if they had like a Chevening thing where if we give you a scholarship, you have to come back to the country and do at least 2 years or so. Did your country have something like that?
Funding.
yes, yes. You guys could hear me well.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely part of the bargain. You get a scholarship opportunity and you had to come back and serve. In my case, it was like a 5 year, right?
5
So
year. Wow, that's
yeah,
long.
5 years, 5 years, 5 years as it relates to my contract,
Wow.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they, in terms of the government encouraging me to do art, I
Mm.
wouldn't say much. It was a form of encouragement. I mean, I guess as much to me, it wasn't a form of encouragement, but it was more so based off of this idea that they wanted to develop the technical areas in schools.
Yeah.
And, you know, it so happened that visual arts came on stream as something. I guess as much I was the one pushing for it too, because I was the one who did the research on Edna Manley. And when I was calling to an interview, I was the one providing information and stuff on based on what I found out about the school. You understand?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
definitely I wouldn't necessarily was encouragement, but based off I guess having
But you were
information.
already self-starter.
Yeah,
You had that self-starter.
right, because I mean in my home country here you could do visual art up to college level, right?
Mhm.
Um we have a college here called T.A. Marshall School or Community College. And you get a basic well in my time you get a basic idea of what art is or what I thought art was at the time. Because you get exposure to all these European artists and all these different things. I mean, that's why I said that to me, Edna is still a gem to me because of the things that
Yeah.
I was exposed to. But a lot of the things I was exposed to was based off of my own willingness to want to explore these things, not
Right.
necessarily as it was presented to me, like Tawny was saying,
We can hear
right?
you. Yeah.
You hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes. You have to have an awareness of your own education,
Yeah.
right? And you also had to have the motivation to want to explore that education. Because I could definitely say, I mean, in some of the classes some of the practical classes that I attended, I'll be very honest with you. You never really had anybody showing you something, right? And I guess some of the lecturers would have probably defend themselves and say, well, you had to come and you had to experiment and stuff like that and find your own way. But nothing was really shown to me in terms of technique wise,
It felt
except
like
for
an
some other
excuse when they
right.
said you have to experiment. It felt like an excuse.
I call in our department here because it was based on my experience.
Mhm.
I mean, I learned techniques in terms of ceramics, right? I learned techniques, right? I
Mhm.
didn't just go there and they say play around with clay, but then in saying painting, right? Depend on the courses. So I'm not bashing any the painting department, but it depends on the course you're taking. But I remember taking a particular pencil course and I wasn't necessarily shown any technique. And then I remember taking another one and some of these approaches and I was already familiar with. So I didn't really walk away with anything that was all different, right? But I can only imagine in terms of your time, Christina, after freshly coming out of secondary school,
Yeah.
walking into a situation and you had these preconceived ideas of what you thought art was, and then walking into this place and you have to deal with persons, lecturers who are not so much willing to show you everything, but you have to run around and discover yourself. And I think we have to understand too that some persons learn well by you throw something at them and they had to explore it and they're good to go. And other persons you got to kind of gradually get
Mhm.
them somewhere before they could say, I never thought about this before. But yeah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, guys. I'm sorry for the background noise. This is where I
You can put a
interject.
disclaimer again.
Yes, I'll put a disclaimer. Daniel, I would really love to have you back so
Yep.
we can talk about the art scene in Grenada. This is how it is here. Because the conversation is so organic, sometimes we can talk about one thing for an hour. Are you there, Daniel? Oh, it doesn't seem Daniel is here.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Great, 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 great. So I would really love to have you back.
For you guys, I would make possible.
Okay, love to hear it.
Oh, oh, now we feel important.
Yeah, yeah. Just to close off the conversation, Mr. Watson made a great point. The school, yeah, yeah, the school
Yes.
lacks direction, the lack of philosophy, and I think that is at the crux of the problem. I think whenever leadership change hands, policies also get jumbled up and lost in get lost in the translation. So I don't even know if that makes sense. But the school lack direction. It lacks a philosophy. I think they have ideas. Different individuals have ideas of what they want the school to be, but I don't think everybody is moving in the same direction. Mr. Watson, where can the people find you?
Instagram.
Even though you're not there.
At
I
Conundrum,
just love how that like Instagram.
Facebook
Yeah.
at
Instagram.
Conundrum. I am
Okay.
there.
All right. You made an effort the past couple weeks to
And Google
be
too.
on
And
Google.
Google. A student
Okay.
found out that they could find me on Google, and then they
They're on
start to advertise that I'm
Wikipedia.
You can find most people on Google.
right.
If you, I mean, well, not really, but someone like you, I mean, I don't think it would be difficult to find you on Google. All right.
It's
Christina.
like the man getting closer and closer to you. Well, the people can find me next Friday. Come and see me next Friday on the Art Conundrum. And you can find me on Instagram as well. At Heavy Manners, and my personal is there too, but I can't remember the
Christina dot T
yeah.
Marie.
Yeah, Tina Marie or something
Chris
like that.
dot Tina Marie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, come back to the Art Conundrum. We love the vibe so far. People have been commenting. People have been having discourse. We love that. We want to keep that up. And maybe one week, Tuani will read some of the comments and have discussions on that as well. But come back next week.
All right.
Danielle, where can the people find you?
Wow. Well, let's start off with Instagram. I'm just, trying to get my art portfolio, my online art portfolio, up and running. So you can definitely find me on Instagram at Studio Art 473. I repeat, Studio Art 473. And yeah, that's it for now. Yeah.
All right. I've been your host, Tuani Sinclair. And it's Tuani Sinclair on Instagram. All right, Daniel, it was lovely speaking to you. I really hope that,
Yeah, first guest
yeah, you're a
and
first
a
guest.
good guest.
You're
A
baptizing.
good guest.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So what we'll do? We'll just end the recording,
Stop it.
and yeah, you can just stop it here.